In this episode, I'm going to challenge your thinking about your role in your business. Specifically, we're going to explore whether you have an oar in your hand or if you have your hand on the rudder. Ready to think differently about what you do and how you do it? Let's get into it.
Welcome to Why Business Teams Fail and How to Avoid It, a show helping small business owners build a radically engaged team that can run the business without you so you can remove the stress from owning a business and enjoy the freedom you deserve. Now, here's your host, Rich Allen.
Today you'll learn that many of the roles owners find themselves doing are the wrong roles for their position. That while you need team members to pick up the oar and row, that should not be you. And you can make more progress faster by placing your hand firmly on the rudder and steering your boat. Here's my question for you this week. What position are you filling in your business, and is it the right one? Several weeks ago, I shared how many employees are unsure and uncertain about the roles they were being asked to play in the business. In that episode, I introduced the notion that every position or role on your team should have what I called a position agreement, a single document that outlines specifically what that role was responsible for, how that role was going to be measured, and the behaviors that would be expected from anyone filling that role. If you missed that episode, it would be well worth your time to go back and listen to it. It will resolve many, if not all, of the confusion over who should be doing what in your business. One of the points I made about doing position agreements for each position in your business was for you to start by doing yours first. As the business owner, you should set the example and have your role and your responsibilities clearly defined and spelled out. But that's as far as I took the discussion on your role. We didn't dive into the specifics of what your role should be, which is why I'm asking this specific question today. What position or role are you currently filling in your business, and is it the right one? You see, I find that far too many business owners are spending their time doing the wrong things in their business, and they're not spending enough time doing the right things. It's not that they're wasting time, but rather the things they find themselves wrapped up in are things that should be done by a team member, not by the business owner. Think of it like this. If you're in a large rowboat and you're the owner of the rowboat, you should be the person in the back center seat, the one who's controlling the rudder for the boat. You should not be in one of the seats in the middle of the boat where the person in that seat has the handle end of the oar. These seats should be reserved for your team members because the individuals in these seats are the ones who are expected to be pulling on the oars, making your business go forward faster. Because I use a bike as a metaphor for a business, I often find myself thinking about and watching how the owner of a bike team is acting and behaving. I probably mentioned that the Tour de France is my favorite annual sporting competition. The Tour de France is an annual multi-stage bike race where the riders compete over thousands of miles over 21 or more days of racing. The Tour de France is made up of 176 individual riders who represent 22 teams. Each team starts the race with 8 riders. These 22 teams have a supporting cast, individuals whose roles are to repair the bikes, feed the riders, handle the transportation, make sure the communication systems are working well, and much more. These bike teams are not unlike your business team, in that everyone has a role and a specific set of responsibilities. And here's what I find very interesting. The bike team owner never gets on a bike to help the team win a stage race. They don't run a wrench to make sure the bike is tuned up for the next day's race. They don't hand out food or water to the riders as they race through a tough stage. They don't take over when the tough climb approaches. Instead, they make sure their riders have everything they need to be successful. They make sure they have qualified team members in every position on their team. They study the course and road ahead and prepare the team for the challenge that's facing them. They make sure that everyone on the team is incentivized and rewarded to achieve big overall team goals. They strategize with their riders before each and every stage of the race. And they shout words of encouragement as the team works together to bring home a victory. Some would say that being an owner is difficult, but I would suggest, if done well, being an owner is exciting and invigorating. We've all seen owners of losing teams. To be honest, they're a pretty sad lot. But we've also seen owners of winning teams, and they're beaming ear to ear with pride for their team members. So let's bring this back to the real world of your business. Picking up an oar may look like making or taking sales calls, or manning the front desk to check out customers at the register, or stocking the shelves when they get empty, or taking an online order from a customer, or fixing the Wi-Fi or router when the system goes down. It may also look like making hiring and firing decisions rather than allowing your managers to do that, or creating process checklists because your supervisors aren't that organized, or processing all the invoices and checkbook payments because you don't trust anyone else to handle your financials. Any and all of these things are jobs that the owner should not be doing as a regular part of their role. These all look and feel a lot like picking up an oar and rowing, just like all of your other team members. Instead, the job that, as the owner, you should be doing are setting the vision for the business in 5 years and establishing the performance standards that are expected from your team and creating a compensation and reward system that will encourage teamwork and reward the results and behaviors you want and need, and creating the recruitment, hiring, and onboarding processes that will improve your likelihood of hiring and retaining the very best team players. It may also include catching your team members doing things right and finding creative ways to encourage and inspire your team's best performance, and checking in with your customers to see how things are going from their perspective and getting ideas on things your team could be doing even better. These are all activities that look and feel a lot more like putting your hand on the rudder of your boat. By focusing your time and efforts on these rudder-like activities, you'll have more control of your boat, and without expending too much effort, you can turn your boat along the course you prefer and desire. So what are you spending the majority of your time doing? Oar-like activities or rudder-like activities? There's a big difference, not only in the results you'll get, but in your enjoyment along the way. Far too many business owners are exhausted from rowing, and while they're rowing, they're not steering. Don't let this be a trap that you get stuck in. Focus your efforts, your time, your energy, and your priority on steering. You'll be very glad you did. As we wrap up today's podcast, let me leave you with these simple thoughts on your role as the business owner. Number 1, avoid getting caught in the trap of doing or rowing jobs in your business. Number 2, if you find yourself with an oar in your hand today, start by hiring one new oarsman who can take the oar from you. And number 3, remember that if you're spending your time rowing, you're probably not steering. And if you're not, who is? If you'd like some additional support in this area or want to tap into our free resources, simply go to my website, tourtoprofit.com. You'll find everything you need there. Thanks for joining me today. Be sure to tune in next week when we're going to discuss the art of pruning and why it matters to your business. You won't want to miss it. Now, go make it a great week, and whatever you do, ride hard.
Thank you for listening to Why Business Teams Fail and How to Avoid It. Make sure to like, subscribe, and tell your friends so you don't ever miss an episode. Now go make it a great week, and whatever you do, ride hard.